What is considered heavy implantation bleeding and how long does it usually last?
Hey there! Welcome to today's video where we'll be discussing a topic that many people are curious about: heavy implantation bleeding and its duration. So, let's dive right in.
What is implantation bleeding?
Before we discuss heavy implantation bleeding, let's first understand what implantation bleeding is. Implantation bleeding refers to light spotting or bleeding that some women may experience when a fertilized egg attaches itself to the lining of the uterus. It typically occurs around 6 to 12 days after fertilization, which is about a week before your expected period.
Defining heavy implantation bleeding.
Now, let's talk about what constitutes heavy implantation bleeding. Heavy implantation bleeding is relatively rare, and most women who experience implantation bleeding usually have very light spotting or discharge. Heavy implantation bleeding, on the other hand, is characterized by a flow that is significantly heavier than light spotting. While heavy implantation bleeding is not common, it's important to note that everyone's experience can vary. What might be heavy for one person may not be the same for another. If you're unsure whether your bleeding is heavy or not, it's always a good idea to consult with your healthcare provider for proper evaluation.
How long does heavy implantation bleeding last?
Now let's discuss the duration of heavy implantation bleeding. Implantation bleeding, including heavy bleeding, typically lasts for a short period of time. It can range from a few hours to a couple of days. However, it's important to remember that every individual's experience may differ, and there is no strict timeline that applies to everyone. If you're experiencing heavy bleeding that lasts longer than a couple of days, or if you're concerned about the amount of blood you're losing, it's crucial to reach out to your healthcare provider. They can evaluate your situation and provide you with appropriate guidance and support. That's a wrap on our discussion about heavy implantation bleeding and its duration. Remember, heavy implantation bleeding is relatively uncommon, and most women experience only light spotting or discharge during this time. If you're unsure about the severity or duration of your bleeding, don't hesitate to consult with your healthcare provider. They are the best resource to provide personalized advice based on your unique situation. Thanks for tuning in, and I hope this video has been informative for you. Take care and stay healthy.